Today, I plan on covering the possibility of upcoming small business stimulus coming out of DC. In summary, don't really count on it. But that's a slight oversimplification. I'll delve deeper into that next week. Putting that aside, I caught COVID. Again. And it sucks. Again. Hello and welcome to Stephen Carlson Show. I'm Stephen Carlson. I'm a tech entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, YouTuber, paramedic, and Bonnie and Clyde are currently hanging out by the pool. It may be, 34 degrees in Florida right now, but they're huskies. They like the cold, so they're hanging out by the pool. Now, some of you may remember that I caught the first strain of COVID back in mid-2020, and that really sucked. It was the sickest that I can ever remember myself feeling. Now it looks like I jumped on the Omicron train, and I get to enjoy this variant as well. First off, this is not medical advice, this is not political commentary, it's just straight honest talk amongst some friends about the situation we all face. I need to be a little careful here, as we all know the YouTube police and cancel culture is very quick to react without actually listening to the content. The fringe of both political parties have hijacked the narrative, and they are hell-bent that their view is the only one that is the valid perspective. If you speak out of line, you are beaten into submission. It is sad, but there is a very vocal minority of one political party that is 100% against vaccines and masks. Then, on the other side of the aisle, there is another very vocal minority that believes vaccines and masks should be mandated. Collectively, these two groups probably only account for maybe 10% of the total world, but damn are they vocal. That leaves the rest of us, the other 90% of sensible people in the world shaking our heads. For us rational folks, we can step back and say, wait a second, maybe vaccines and masks help some, but they aren't a magic cure. They have a time and place, but humanity also needs to realize that this is not a perfect fix for things. We just have to move on. Shutting down businesses and mandating a mask and vaccine mandate do more harm in the long run, and they are not a magical ticket to the promised land. As a society, we have allowed political figures and talking heads in the media to dictate our beliefs. If you are from X political party, you believe this. If you are from Y political party, you believe that. Yet, the actual facts don't change, only the interpretation of these facts. I would like to read a quick snippet from the introduction of one of my upcoming books. It's still in very rough draft form, and while it was not written about COVID, it still applies to this topic at hand. There is no panacea, no utopia, no perfect world. These are all just idealistic fantasies conjured up by a society yearning for something better. With each coming decade, the youth, disillusioned with the hypocritical approach to life by previous generations, they adopt the mantra of change. They fight to save this and protect that. Most are noble, if not a little naive. Not to say their causes are bogus, not worthy the fight. On the contrary, they are immensely admirable. The problem comes when people are easily misled by groupthink. The organizational structure and the communal association becomes the driving factors in decision-making. The original cause that they fought for becomes nothing but talking points to bash over the head of their opponents. The tribal mentality becomes dogmatic and ingrained. The predictability is so apparent for any student of history. The inevitable always comes to pass. The loud war drums for change are slowly tampered down, beaten into submission, and eventually they're snuffed out. As the generation's youth grows up, they get jobs, buy homes, and start families, their priorities diverge. These once fervent warriors of change lose focus on issues that were their lives, their entire identity just a few years prior. Sure, they continue to put bumper stickers on their car and campaign signs in their front yard, but this is just window dressing. The concern about keeping up the appearance becomes the goal, and their once beloved cause takes the back seat. The truth is never the goal for them. It is merely a roadblock to overcome in many cases. Now, as I get closer to releasing my book, I'll share more upcoming information. And let's get back to today's topic. I'm double vaccinated and I'm boosted, yet I still caught COVID. Again. And I always knew this was possible, as the science, and this is the actual science, not the CNN version of science, said you can still catch COVID after being vaccinated. Still, statistically speaking, a vaccinated person is less likely to suffer severe symptoms. I chose to be vaccinated not because the media told me to or because the government mandated it. Instead, I chose this path in line with medical guidance because I have a family member that is immunocompromised, and I wanted to set an example to show that it was safe to take the vaccine. How could I encourage my family to take it if I opted out myself? That was my perspective. In closing, I will leave you with this one last thought. To get the jab or not should be a personal choice between a patient, their family, and their physician. Not so-called experts in the media. Whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, etc. Nobody should get between you speaking with your doctor to determine what is right for you. No matter how much this illness sucks, and sadly how many lives will be lost or impacted by it, the rest of the world, we just need to move on. Hunkering down in place and shutting down the entire world doesn't solve the problem. As a species, we will survive and we must move on. Thankfully, we're starting to realize this, which is evident by the mass migration of people out of states with authoritarian restrictions and high taxes. And they're moving to open and free states like Florida and Texas. Now, what do you guys think about COVID and the restrictions, etc.? Comment down below and share. But remember, we're all adults here. I can't even say the word adults. Man, I'm really sick right now. You get the point. We're all adults here, so don't act like a whiny little child if somebody expresses a view that's different from you. I guess one more thing that kind of sucks about getting sick right now is I was planning on going to Idaho in a few days to help fly a helicopter back to Florida. My instructor went out of her way to arrange it so that I could get a little extra experience flying across multiple states, figuring that it would be great practice for my upcoming Open for Business nationwide tour. So, sorry for bailing on you last minute, Grace, but have a good flight. Speaking of Open for Business, we all know how much this pandemic has hurt small businesses across the country. This is why I created the awareness campaign to shine a spotlight on some of these small businesses. Please go to www.open4.business and register your business today. We all know this is the Small Business Awareness Campaign where myself, Aubrey Janik, Jamel Gibbs, Minority Mindset, Investment Joy, Rod Squad, Kenny Keller, Mark Moss, Christina Tia, Fire Department Coffee, Air Force Major C.W. Lemoyne, and others will be hanging out in the helicopter and we'll be talking about small businesses. Now, our flight plan is already pretty much locked, so we can't really add any more stops, but if we happen to be flying by you currently on one of our stops, come out and check us out. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you click like and subscribe. Doing so really helps the, I'm sick, guys. You get the point. It helps the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it. Now I'm done. Once I finish editing this, I'm going back to bed. Thanks. See you in the next one.